Have you ever met someone who has everything? Not a lot, everything. Money, power, a palace, gold clothes, proper food, clean fingernails. The last one bothered me more than it should have. Do you know how difficult it is to keep fingernails clean when your routine involves surviving? Meet my brother, Kuber, Lord of Wealth, King of Lanka, the man who owned so much gold that even his accountants probably wore jewelry. People imagine meeting rich relatives is exciting, it isn't. It's educational. Nothing teaches you your place in society quite like expensive carpets. A few weeks after seeing Lanka from across the sea, father announced, "We're visiting Kuber." I nearly dropped the basket I was carrying. Kuber? Yes. Lanka? Yes. The golden Lanka. Father sighed. There aren't many bronze Lankas. Shurpnakha screamed. Kumbhakarna grinned. Vibhishan folded his hands. I hope we learn something. Of course you do, Vibhishan. You were born 60 years old. The journey took days. Through forests, over hills, across rivers. Father walked peacefully, mother walked cautiously. Kumbhakarna carried half our belongings, and I carried questions. Shurpnakha carried absolutely nothing, and specifically, absolutely no sense of danger. At one point, she tried petting a crocodile. Her exact words were, "Look, a sleepy lizard." Unfortunately, the crocodile had standards. It ignored us. And then we arrived. Lanka, the city I'd been dreaming about, the city of gold, the city that poets still refuse to shut up about. I expected music, trumpets, magic, angels, something. Instead, the first thing I noticed was how clean everything was. Have you ever seen a city so clean you become suspicious? Not a single broken cart, not a single cracked wall, even the pigeons looked disciplined. One actually moved aside to let us pass. That pigeon definitely had government training. The gates opened, huge, golden, decorated with carvings so detailed I wondered if the sculpture had ever slept. Guards stood perfectly skilled, armors polished, spears shining. Not one of them looked hungry. Imagine that, an army that had eaten breakfast, revolutionary concept. Then I looked down. Bare feet, dust, a patched tunic. Wonderful. I had dressed exactly as poverty intended. Mother quietly straightened my clothes. She knew. Mothers always know. She smiled, the kind that says, "Walk proudly anyway." Inside, my eyes stopped working, or perhaps they simply couldn't keep up. Gold everywhere, columns, roofs, statues, balconies, even the lamps looked expensive. Who makes golden lamps? It's fire, it can't appreciate luxury. Then there were fountains, actual fountains. Do you know what my village had? Mud, seasonal mud, premium mud during the monsoon. Servants rushed everywhere, merchants bowed, musicians played, perfume floated through the air, and for one glorious second, I forgot I didn't belong there. Then somebody looked at me. The spell broke immediately. You know that look, you've seen it. The one that politely says, "Who invited this person?" Ah, yes, that old friend. Finally, the doors to the throne hall opened, and there he was, Kuber, my brother, smiling. Magnificent robes, jewels, confidence. He looked comfortable. That's the word, comfortable. People born into wealth move differently. They've never had to apologize for existing. He saw father, walked down the steps, touched his feet respectfully, and he greeted mother kindly. And then he looked at us, all four children. There was no cruelty on his face, no arrogance, just compassion. And somehow that was worse. He knelt before me. "You must be Ravana." "I am." "You've grown." "I've never met you." Yes. Awkward. Very awkward. Even the musicians seemed uncomfortable. One of them missed a note. Kuber smiled. "I have gifts prepared." "Ah, gifts. Excellent. Nothing says we are family quite like charity." Servants arrived carrying silks, fruits, sweetmeats, jewelry. Shurpnakha gasped. Kumbhakaran stared at the sweets like a man having a religious experience. Vibhishan whispered, "We should be grateful." I whispered back, "We should own this." That was the moment. Not because Kuber insulted me, he didn't. Not because he mocked us, he did not. He was generous, kind, respectful, which made everything infinitely worse. Because generosity creates a debt, and I hated debt. Especially the kind wrapped in silk. Kuber placed a hand on my shoulder. "I hope one day you'll think of Lanka as home." I smiled. Oh, I will. He smiled back. Neither of us realized we just had made completely different promises. History says I stole Lanka. I conquered it, seized it by force. Perhaps we'll get there. But history rarely tells you that before kingdoms are taken, they're imagined. Long before I fought Kubera, I had already defeated him 1,000 times inside my head. The strange thing about envy is that it disguises itself as ambition. You tell yourself, I'm dreaming, when really you're comparing, you're measuring, you're keeping score, and children should never keep score against kings. Because sooner or later, they decide to change the game. Next time, I'll tell you about the day I discovered that knowledge can be a weapon sharper than any sword. Unfortunately, I was exceptionally good at both.